This is Cassius, Tryptymine Astrology Readings. So I'm going to break down for you a few things that you really should know about this era of time. Some things that I think would be useful in deciding what to do now in the bigger picture of things. You see, there come times where it's the time to be a certain way to best deal with the energy that we're given. 2013 and 2014, for example, were years of fire. Fiery aspects dominated those 2 years. They dominated 2014. You especially felt in summer and August 2014, September, October, when Jupiter was in Leo trine Uranus. This Jupiter in Leo trine Uranus, a fire trine, as fire as it gets. Uranus and Jupiter are very fixed, fiery type of energies anyway. Jupiter is the planet of Sagittarius, a fire sign. Uranus is the energy of Aquarius, my sign, a very electric, fiery, fixed energy. Fire is basically the energy that I identify with the most, actually. But even I have to take a step back right now and utilize the earth and water energy that is basically filling the air right now. You see, it's a very useful way to look at it, just to look at it from a fire and air type era perspective, or an earth or water theme type perspective. You see, there's this thing that happens in astrology where the same type of aspects happen in a given period of time. They do the same thing. Multiple aspects in the sky happen at the same time that do the same things. So right now we have Jupiter in Virgo for a year. Since about August, I think August was when Jupiter went into Virgo. Yeah, so when Jupiter went into Virgo in August, it's much different from Jupiter in Leo. Jupiter in Leo is fire energy. We felt fire in 2014, in June of 2015, when Jupiter trined Uranus again in Leo. This is very different energy from that fiery, pouring, fixed energy. This is the time for being reserved, for recognizing emotions and being honest with people emotionally. It's the time for that type of thing. We were all kind of just broken down by the water and earth energies clashing with each other in Saturn square Neptune. Saturn is earth, it's Capricorn, it's pure tangibility. Water is usually about emotions and intuition, sensitivity. Very opposite of fire. So, at this time, it's not really the time to be fiery. It's the time to recognize your emotions. Venus in Scorpio is very much about that. Venus is in Scorpio right now. Venus tends to bring things, especially emotions, to the forefront. It tends to say, I'm going to expose you. You know, it says that with not necessarily just people, but emotions. Venus in Scorpio brings emotions out. Gets people expressing emotions and stuff like that. So this week, we're going to have Mercury's in Capricorn. Mercury in Capricorn is all about getting down to business, being reserved with communications. I have Mercury in Capricorn myself, so I know very much how Mercury in Capricorn is. Mercury will be in Capricorn for about a straight month as it goes all the way through Capricorn and starts slowing down. And then it's going to retrograde it when it gets to the very end of Capricorn. Just go back through it. So almost all of the Mercury retrogrades of 2016 happen in Earth signs, as the retrogrades of 2015 happened in air signs. In 2015, the Mercury retrograde is not just a bad time. It's only a bad time if it gets stuck in a bad aspect. It just means that it's emphasizing the energy of that sign for a longer period of time. That's what it's about. It's not about good or bad. Sometimes it's more useful than not. Sometimes it's a hard lesson. Sometimes it's a good lesson. This Mercury retrograde coming up in January will probably be the most positive retrograde that we've seen in a long time, except for when it conjoins Pluto. That will be probably harsh. So, this week we have Mercury sextile Venus in Scorpio. Mercury in Capricorn sextile Venus in Scorpio. This will be about communicating emotions and being quiet and reserved, not fiery and fixed and bold with your opinions, which is hard for me to do. It's not easy for me to be reserved and expressing my emotions. I'm not that. I'm more of a fire person. So the fire people right now are going to have to be reserved this week. They're going to have to be honest with people about their emotions and their feelings. There might be some purging of feelings. You might get your feelings out to people when you haven't been expressing them. When Mercury conjoins Pluto at the very end of this week, it's probably going to be an explosion. This weekend we probably had explosions of temper when Mars opposed Uranus and squared Pluto, because this is one of the most fiery and explosive possible configurations we could have gotten. Mars, it's kind of an oxymoron though, because, okay, you got Mars in Libra. Mars in Libra is a harmonious Mars. Mars is the planet of Aries, opposite Libra. Libra is the sign of harmonious communication, good community. It's about learning to get along with people. It's about balancing communications. So Mars in Libra is not a fiery Mars. But when Mars is opposite Uranus in Libra, you've got the clashing archetypes of Libra and Aries. You've got the clashing archetypes of being harmonious and delicate, and being fiery and ideologically passionate. I had to slow my roll when I was being a little bit too fiery and ideologically passionate, because I'm an Aquarius and Uranus right now is sextile my Sun. So I'm getting a full blast of Uranus and Aries for me personally right now. Uranus is flowing to me, just being myself. I'm going through a personal transit, but I have to be reserved, you know. It's the week to get down to business and do some work. That's what Mercury in Capricorn is all about. Mercury in Capricorn is all about getting down to business, doing some work silently. It's about working silently. So, we can't be fiery this week. It's not about that. If you be fiery this week, you will get into conflict. I'm telling you. If you be fiery this week, you will get into conflict. Mars opposite Uranus will persist, and there will be an underlying tension this week. So, you've got to be reserved right now. You've got to be honest and humble. You've got to express your emotions in a calm way to your people. Venus in Scorpio. You've got to learn your lessons and be humbled this week. You've got to be humbled. You've got to be earth and water right now. I'll explain more about this later in a more articulate form than this free-form expression, but for right now I'm just going to give you this and the weekly horoscope with the chart on screen so I can teach you how it looks. And much love. Much love. Peace.